What happens if the sun never rises again? The last sunrise, it began as an ordinary day, maybe too ordinary. The morning air was cool, a soft golden light spilling over the horizon, brushing the world with warmth. Birds sang, traffic moved. The ocean shimmered like glass. No one knew that this sunrise would be humanity's last. In New York, people were already rushing to work. In Tokyo, commuters stood packed in trains, scrolling through phones. In Africa, the sun lit the grasslands in a blaze of gold. In Antarctica, a few researchers squinted as the first light hit the ice, signaling the end of polar night. The world was awake, alive, and completely unaware that the clock of life had just started ticking toward eternal night. As the sun climbed higher, satellites orbiting Earth noticed something strange. The solar radiation levels began to fluctuate. Instruments that had been steady for decades suddenly showed irregular readings. Scientists in observatories across the world double-checked their data. They thought it was a malfunction. By noon, the data was undeniable. Something was happening to the sunlight itself. It started faintly, a slight dimming that most people didn't even notice. But by afternoon, the light turned softer, paler. It felt different, colder somehow. In the streets, people began looking up. The sky seemed off. The blue was fading, washed into a dull gray. Even shadows began to blur, as though the light itself was growing tired. Governments issued no warnings. Scientists needed confirmation before alarming the public. But in private, they knew something was terribly wrong. And as the Earth rotated into night, everyone expected the next morning to come like always. It didn't. The following dawn never came. At first, the world waited, 1 hour, then 2. Then an entire day passed with no hint of sunrise. Across every continent, panic spread like wildfire. In major cities, people flooded the streets, staring at the black horizon. The sky remained pitch dark, no glow, no dawn, nothing. Just endless night. News channels ran non-stop coverage. Global darkness event, they called it. Power plants overloaded as billions turned on lights and heaters. Solar farms failed instantly. Crops began to freeze. Some believed it was a massive solar eclipse. Others whispered that it was the end of the world. Governments and space agencies united in emergency sessions. NASA, ESA, and JXA all launched probes and telescopes to find answers. The sun was still there. It hadn't exploded. It hadn't died. It was burning as bright as ever, but something vast, dark, and unknown had blocked its light from reaching Earth. No one knew what it was. Some thought it was a massive cosmic dust cloud, drifting silently through space. Others feared something artificial, a structure, colossal in size, built by something not human. The world had fallen into shadow. Within the first week, the planet's temperature dropped sharply. Countries near the equator cooled first. Crops wilted, animals grew restless, forests stood silent. And then came the snow. Snow fell in places that had never seen it before: deserts, rainforests, tropical islands. Oceans began to steam, losing heat into the void. Humanity realized the truth. Without sunlight, the Earth would soon freeze to death. Governments issued global survival orders. Emergency rations were distributed. Power grids struggled to keep up. Nations began cooperating in a way they hadn't in decades. Old rivalries vanished overnight. Survival was the only goal now. People built massive fires in public squares. Homes glowed with generator light. The night became endless, and so did fear. Months before, everyone had lived under the illusion of control, believing human progress could overcome nature. But now, in darkness, that illusion broke. People saw how fragile their world truly was. In rural areas, families huddled near wood stoves. In cities, skyscrapers stood like black silhouettes against the void. The stars were brighter than ever, but they offered no comfort, only silence. In that silence, human minds began to fracture. Without the cycle of day and night, sleep patterns collapsed. People lost track of time. Depression spread like a disease. Clocks became meaningless. Days blended into nights, or what humans still called nights, though now it was all the same. Religions revived in strange ways. Some believed the darkness was divine punishment. Others thought humanity had failed the planet, and this was its revenge. Massive gatherings filled the streets with prayers, chants, and even sacrifices in some corners of the world. The world was changing, not just physically but spiritually. And deep underground, far from the chaos above, scientists worked desperately. In old military bunkers and research facilities, teams of experts gathered from every nation. They called their mission Project Dawn. Their goal was simple: find a way to bring back the sun's light. They studied every possibility. Artificial satellites carrying mirrors to reflect sunlight, massive orbital lasers to burn through the dark veil, nuclear reactors to sustain life underground. But none of it could replace what the sun gave freely for billions of years. Without sunlight, photosynthesis stopped. Plants died, oxygen levels began to fall. Oceans froze from the surface downward. The earth was slowly suffocating. Yet in that despair, humanity showed something powerful and determined. Across the world, people adapted. Farmers moved underground, growing food using artificial light. Engineers designed massive geothermal shelters, tapping into the Earth's inner heat. Old oil rigs became refuge towers. Abandoned subways turned into cities beneath cities. Life continued, fragile but unbroken. In one small shelter in Iceland, a young girl asked her mother, "Will the sun ever come back?" Her mother, staring into the dim light of a battery lamp, whispered, "Maybe not. But we'll keep living until it does." And that became the new law of humanity to live by, no matter what. Above ground, the planet had turned into an alien world. Frozen forests, silent oceans, lifeless cities buried in snow. The northern lights spread further than ever, painting the black sky with eerie green and red waves. It was beautiful and terrifying. People began calling it the eternal night. And yet, there was one more mystery. Astronomers, working from mountain observatories still powered by nuclear grids, noticed that the stars themselves were shifting. A faint pulse, rhythmic, deliberate pulse came from the direction of the sun. It wasn't natural. It was a signal. Someone or something was transmitting from behind the dark barrier that now surrounded Earth, and as the world froze in silence, that signal repeated over and over in the language of mathematics, a universal code. Humanity realized the sun hadn't just vanished by accident. Something had hidden it. The age of darkness, the second month of darkness, changed everything. By now, the oceans had begun to freeze along their edges. Massive sheets of ice spread outward from the poles, swallowing coastlines and cities alike. Fishing towns vanished beneath thick walls of frozen water. Harbors became graveyards for ships, locked in place like trapped insects. The temperature dropped below anything ever recorded. Crops that hadn't already died turned black in the fields. Animals collapsed mid-migration. The sky was a permanent shade of deep blue and black, pierced only by the pale shimmer of stars. The earth had fallen silent, and in that silence humanity began to split. Governments collapsed under the weight of chaos. Communication networks failed. Only a handful of countries still had functioning power, those with nuclear plants, geothermal energy, or massive underground reserves. These places became sanctuaries for the lucky few. The rest were left behind. Cities that once shone like constellations in the night now flickered and died one by one. The darkness devoured them. People became desperate. Some traveled hundreds of kilometers toward rumored light zones, regions said to still have artificial daylight or warmth. Others built massive fires in the open, hoping to survive another night. But fire could only do so much. The cold was merciless. Inside what remained of the United Nations underground facility in Geneva, the world's last scientists and leaders gathered in what they called the Dawn Council. They sat beneath flickering lights powered by reactors, surrounded by maps of a dying planet. Dr. Lena Orlov, a climatologist from Russia, spoke first. "The atmosphere is cooling faster than our simulations predicted," she said. "At this rate, in 6 months, the equator will reach sub-zero temperatures. In 1 year, the surface will be uninhabitable," someone whispered. "Then humanity will be extinct," but not everyone agreed. "We can still adapt," said Commander Reyes from Mexico. "We move underground, we tap geothermal energy. We build habitats, the Earth's core is still warm, but for how long?" Another asked. No one answered. In the following weeks, Project Dawn shifted focus. They couldn't bring sunlight back, so they decided to recreate it. In a hidden bunker deep beneath Iceland's volcanic crust, engineers constructed what they called the core light, a massive, reactor-driven sphere that emitted artificial daylight. It was humanity's attempt to rebuild the sun, even if only in fragments. The first time it activated, people cried. For a brief moment, the underground city of Haven was filled with warm, golden light. Plants began to grow again. Children laughed. It felt like hope, but hope didn't last. Power shortages struck quickly. Maintaining the artificial sun required fuel they didn't have. Every second it glowed drained their energy reserves. Haven was forced to ration the light to 12 hours of glow per day, then 12 hours of black. And that was when the psychological toll began. In the eternal dark, humans began to change. Some lost their sense of time. Others developed a fear of the light itself, unable to look at it after so many weeks in the void. The human brain, it seemed, wasn't built to live without the rhythm of day and night. In the absence of sunlight, a strange new sickness spread. Doctors called it solar deprivation syndrome. Symptoms ranged from insomnia to hallucinations. Some swore they saw the sun burning through the black sky again. Others heard whispers coming from the dark itself. But the strangest event came from the scientists monitoring the mysterious signal detected from space. The signal had changed. It was no longer just mathematical. It had begun repeating patterns in geometric sequences that resembled designs. Circles, spirals, structures, almost like blueprints. At first they thought it was a trick cosmic noise. But when they overlaid the data on Earth's orbital maps, something became clear. The signal wasn't random, it was directed. Something out there was watching. And then came the message. A short burst, repeating every 6 hours. Translated through pattern recognition, it formed a phrase that no one could explain. You have been seen. The scientists went silent. Some refused to believe it, others were terrified. If something had blocked the sun, and that same something was now communicating, then humanity was no longer dealing with a natural disaster. It was a warning. Meanwhile, on the surface, small survivor colonies began to rise from the ruins. Some worshipped the darkness, believing the sun's disappearance was divine judgment. They called themselves the children of the void. They rejected artificial light, living by fire and instinct. Others formed the opposite. The keepers of light, groups who hunted for old solar panels, mirrors, and technologies to keep the memory of sunlight alive. They painted suns on walls, burned symbols into ice, and built shrines to what once was. The world had split into two beliefs, one embracing the dark, the other refusing to let it win. By the third month, the Earth was nearly unrecognizable. Clouds froze in the sky, their moisture turned to diamond dust. Oceans solidified from the surface down. The continents glittered under starlight like a frozen gem in space. In space, satellites continued orbiting cold, silent, but still watching. From them came one final image before their batteries died. A massive, dark object surrounding the Earth. Not a solid shell, but a swarm of countless fragments, glimmering faintly against the starlight. It wasn't a natural cloud. It looked constructed, metallic, structured, designed. Something had built a barrier around the Earth, a shell that trapped the planet in endless night. And as scientists in Haven studied the data, they began to understand a horrifying possibility. This wasn't an accident, it was an experiment. Humanity, for the first time in its history, might not be alone, and whatever intelligence had noticed them had decided to turn off the light, maybe to observe, maybe to test, maybe to punish. No one knew. But deep underground, as the artificial light flickered and food supplies thinned, one young scientist looked up from his screen and said what everyone else was afraid to voice aloud. What if they're waiting to see what we become without the sun? The room went silent. For a long moment, no one spoke. Then Commander Reyes turned toward the darkness outside the glass wall of the bunker and whispered, "Then we'd better show them we can survive." And so began humanity's next chapter, not under sunlight, but under shadow. The age of darkness had truly begun. The frozen Earth by the 6th month, the Earth had become a frozen planet. The seas were no longer blue. They had turned to sheets of cracked ice, stretching from pole to pole. Entire continents glittered like mirrors beneath the starlight. Mountains vanished beneath snow. Rivers froze mid-flow, trapping fish in crystal tunes. From space, if anyone was still there to see it, Earth looked like a pearl, beautiful, silent, dead. Inside the underground city of Haven, the temperature on the surface had dropped to minus 120 degrees Celsius. No human could survive there for more than a few minutes. The atmosphere thickened with frozen carbon dioxide, and winds howled through the ruins of old cities at over 300 kilometers per hour. It was no longer a planet for humans. It belonged to the cold now. And yet, deep beneath that frozen crust, humanity still clung to life. The geothermal bunkers were the last strongholds of civilization. Thousands of people lived in them, scientists, soldiers, farmers, and children stacked in steel chambers, breathing recycled air and surviving on hydroponic crops lit by artificial lamps. But supplies were running low. The artificial suns built by Project Dawn were failing. Their reactors couldn't sustain the energy output. Each day, the light grew dimmer, the heat weaker. The engineers called it the fading. And when the light began to fade, so did hope. Inside Haven's central dome, Commander Reyes gathered his council. The air smelled of metal and damp soil. Behind them, the artificial sun flickered weakly, casting long shadows across the hall. Dr. Lena Orlov spoke first. Her voice was calm, but her eyes were hollow. "We've lost contact with the other colonies," she said. "Nova Station in Canada, Borealis Base in Russia. Even Sol 3 in Japan, all gone. No signals, no heat signatures. We may be the last." Reyes leaned back, staring at the black ceiling. "How long can we hold?" 3 months. Maybe 4 if we cut energy to the outer sectors, and the core light? Failing. The reactors are at their limit. If they shut down completely, we'll freeze. Silence filled the room. Every breath felt heavy. Finally, a young engineer named Mika spoke up. "We could try reigniting one of the surface reactors, the old solar array near Reykjavik. If it still exists, we could convert it into a mirror array to reflect light from the core light. Amplify it." "Go to the surface?" someone asked in disbelief. "Do you want to die down here?" Mika snapped. "Because if we do nothing, that's exactly what will happen." Reyes looked at her, then nodded slowly. "Prepare an expedition." And so, for the first time in months, a small team climbed toward the frozen surface of the world. They wore heavy thermal suits, faces hidden behind glass helmets that fogged with every breath. The air outside was still, thick, and lifeless. The once blue sky was now a black void. Even the stars looked dim and muted behind the invisible barrier that surrounded the planet. They moved through the ruins of Reykjavik, their boots crunching over snow and glass. Buildings stood like frozen statues, their windows sealed in ice. Cars were buried under white dunes. There were no birds, no sound. Only the wind. Hours later, they reached the remains of the solar array, a massive field of mirrors half buried under snow. As they began clearing it, Mika's radio crackled. "Commander, I think I've found something." They gathered around a mirror panel half tipped over. Beneath it was not snow, but metal. Smooth, black, reflective metal, unlike anything they'd ever seen. It wasn't human-made. As they brushed away the frost, the shape became clear, a curved structure seamlessly fused to the ground, humming faintly with energy. "Is it part of the barrier?" Reyes asked. Lena knelt, placing a gloved hand against it. The surface vibrated faintly, like it were alive. "No," she said quietly. "It's beneath it." That night, when they returned to Haven with samples, the analysis confirmed it. The metal wasn't from Earth. It was composed of elements unknown to science. It emitted a faint electromagnetic signal, a pattern identical to the one detected from space. Whatever blocked the sun was connected to this. And then the signal changed again. It pulsed through their instruments, stronger this time, and formed a new message. "Your time under light has ended. Your test begins." The room went silent. Some scientists began to cry. Others stared blankly at the message. It was undeniable that now something intelligent was behind it. Something that had deliberately sealed Earth in darkness? But why? In the days that followed, the council debated endlessly. Some said humanity was being punished for destroying nature, for polluting, for arrogance. Others believed this was a cosmic experiment, an alien civilization studying whether intelligent life could survive without its star. Whatever the truth was, one thing was certain: humanity had been chosen. And as if mocking them, the signal changed again, transmitting mathematical data that mapped the barrier's structure. It was vast, stretching beyond the moon's orbit, a perfect sphere surrounding the Earth. It wasn't solid. It was made of countless fragments, each reflecting or absorbing light. Together they acted like a cage built for one planet. Humanity realized something terrifying. This wasn't the first time it had happened. Old deep space probes, long thought dead, suddenly came back online. They transmitted strange data from centuries-old records of light fluctuations that matched the current event. It had happened before, maybe not to Earth, but to others. Across the universe, there might be other planets, other civilizations trapped in the same eternal night. And then came the final signal. It was short, pulsing only once. Translated through binary code, it said, "Only those who adapt deserve the dawn." That night, the lights in Haven flickered again. The core light began to fail completely. People gathered in the main chamber, holding hands as the warmth faded. Children clung to their parents. The hum of the reactor slowed. The artificial sun dimmed to a dull glow. Dr. Lena looked up at it, humanity's last light, and whispered, "Maybe that's the point. Maybe the sun was never ours to begin with." And then the light went out. Darkness returned. But even in that blackness, one thing survived: fire. Simple, ancient fire, humanity's first and oldest friend. It flickered weakly in the hallways as the survivors gathered around it, breathing together, alive for one more night. And above them, unseen beyond the frozen crust, the dark barrier around Earth shifted slightly, as if something vast and unseen had just turned its gaze toward them again. Watching, waiting, the test had only just begun. The age of endless night months have turned into years. The Earth now wears a heavy cloak of eternal night. Humanity has adapted, but not without sacrifice. Our great cities, once alive with light and laughter, are now hollow monuments of what used to be. Only a few still flicker with artificial glow, powered by reactors buried deep beneath the crust. They call them sun cores, massive fusion stations designed to mimic the lost warmth of the sun. But even they cannot fill the emotional emptiness left behind. The sky remains black, sprinkled with distant stars that never fade. The moon still circles us, but even its silver light feels cold and foreign. For children born after the fall, stories of sunlight sound like fantasy. They don't understand what it means to squint in brightness or to feel the sting of warmth on bare skin. They grow pale and small, raised in tunnels, shielded from radiation and cold. The Earth's balance has broken. Without sunlight, the winds have changed, the oceans have frozen over, and the air feels heavy with stillness. The northern hemisphere is a wasteland of snow and silence. Massive ice sheets creep across continents, swallowing cities like New York, Berlin, and Moscow. In the south, volcanic regions are now humanity's last hope, where geothermal heat still rises from the deep earth, offering warmth and energy. Here, survivors have built underground sanctuaries. Entire societies now live beneath the crust, near molten rivers of rock. They've carved cities into the stone, glowing with red and gold light, powered by the heat of the planet's core. It's not paradise, it's survival. The air is thick, the water recycled, and the population controlled. But compared to the frozen death above, it's life. And yet, not all have gone below. Some refuse to leave the surface. They became wanderers, the night tribes. They move through the dark, surviving on what's left of the natural world. They hunt giant predators that adapted to the endless night. Wolves have evolved sharper senses. Birds no longer fly. Their wings are now used for warmth. Even plants, once green, now glow faintly blue, bioluminescent veins pulsing like veins of living fire. The Earth has changed its own rules to stay alive. Still, the question remains, how long can humans endure without the sun? The fusion cores can last centuries, but not forever. Crops grown under artificial light lack nutrition. Diseases spread easily in closed systems. And psychologically, humans begin to break. Without a sunrise, time loses meaning. People forget days, months, years. Clocks still tick, but they no longer matter. Religions have changed too. In the dark, faith evolves. Some worship the lost sun as a god who turned away. Others believe humanity is being punished for taking light for granted. A few have begun to praise the darkness itself, calling it the true balance. They say the night is cleansing the earth from human greed. But deep in the underground cities, scientists continue their work. Their goal is not to bring back the sun. It's to replace it. Using mirrors and satellites, they've tried to reignite the atmosphere, to spark artificial dawn. Yet every attempt fails. The cold swallows their light before it can reach the ground. Still, hope is stubborn. It refuses to die, even in the dark. Then one day, something changes. Astronomers detect a faint burst of radiation from the edge of the solar system. At first, they think it's nothing, just cosmic noise. But as the data comes in, a shocking realization spreads. The sun isn't gone, it's asleep. A cosmic anomaly, a sudden drop in fusion, forced it into a dormant state. It still exists, silent and waiting, its surface trembling like a heartbeat slowed to near death. The discovery spreads like wildfire through the remaining networks. For the first time in years, there's real hope. The world unites again, not under sunlight, but under purpose. Massive orbital missions begin. Humanity sends fleets of automated ships toward the sun, carrying devices designed to restart the stellar fire to awaken the sleeping giant that gave us life. But the journey is long, and the outcome uncertain. Every reactor burns precious fuel, every launch risks lives. As ships leave Earth's orbit, people gather in the darkness to watch, eyes lifted to the black sky. Somewhere beyond that endless night, the last chance of light drifts toward a silent star. And in that moment, humanity remembers something powerful. The sun was never just a source of heat, it was hope. It was rhythm, it meant something. Without it, life still exists, but it forgets why it exists. The dawn that never was. Years pass, the missions vanish into the void. No signal, no return. Humanity prepares for extinction. The cold seeps deeper into the planet, reaching even the geothermal havens. Crops die, animals fade. And one by one, the lights in the underground cities begin to fail. But one night, if night even has meaning anymore, the sky changes. A faint orange glow spreads along the horizon. At first, people think it's a hallucination. But soon the sensors confirm it. Radiation levels rising, energy waves pulsing through the solar wind. The sun is waking up. Slowly, painfully, its light returns. Faint at first, then stronger, cutting through years of darkness. Ice begins to melt, the air warms. For the first time in generations, a sunrise breaks the endless night. People emerge from their shelters, falling to their knees in tears. The light burns their eyes, but they welcome the pain. It means life. The earth stirs again. Oceans thaw. Plants reach for the light, reborn from the frozen soil. The sky shifts from black to gold. Humanity rebuilds, forever changed. No one forgets the years of dark silence. And maybe that's the lesson the universe wanted to teach. Light is not eternal, it's a gift. We live as if the sun will always rise, but nothing in this universe lasts forever. The night will always return, but so will the dawn. That's the balance that keeps everything alive. Have you ever wondered what would happen if AI went beyond our control, not in a movie, but in real life? Today we explore that possibility.